Happy day, YouTube. My name is John, and this is my channel, The Intermancer. On my last episode, my last episode was the first episode where I had switched over to using a coding agent, OpenCode AI's agent, that I was able to successfully record a video, not because of any problems with OpenCode, but because I got a new laptop. At the end of last episode, I was facing three problems. I'm still facing three big problems. One, the status, as when I start an experiment on my genetic AI framework, the status is not updating as the experiment progresses. Two, since I've started using the agent, there has been some drift between my context documents and my code. And three, I have a memory leak somewhere. So I'm going to tackle those problems in that order. This video, I'm going to try to get the status to update. And as I've been doing, I haven't really done anything off camera. I haven't tried to spend any time meditating on the code or trying to understand where the problem is. So this is going to be a live exploration. Let's first confirm that we still have a problem. npm run dev. Go to my backend. Gradle w boot run. Now, this is just the code where it was at the end of last episode. I haven't done any changes at all. I haven't even committed up to GitHub. Okay, that should be there. Let's see. Oh, and here's my OpenCode account. I don't think I'll need to blur any of this, but you can see that I've only used $2.21 so far of my $20 investment. Okay, that didn't work, so I probably need to just go here. Where are my previous chats? Can I search in here? So I know this has to do with the public, no, package.json. Okay. Okay, I guess I did it in this. So, again, this is something I've talked about before, but just so we're all on the same page, I am currently bouncing back and forth between three different subscriptions. I've got my Claude subscription, which I sync up to GitHub, and then I'm just asking questions. If I have general questions, that's the place to do it. I have the IntelliJ subscription, which seems to have a pretty low capacity, so I've been using that for IntelliJ specific questions. And then I have this OpenCode. It's not a subscription. I'm subscribed to the service, but then you buy tokens and you just burn through the tokens that you've already bought. So you're not paying on a monthly subscription basis. So let's see here. going to my dev console. Let's see. Find in chat. Failed. Okay. Failed. 2. All right, whatever. Let's just copy it over and ask again for like the 4th time. In the dev console on my browser, I'm getting this error. Okay. Okay, that fixed that. Now, start experiment. Now, what I expect to see is that out of memory exception. So cycle count 3000, maybe I won't see it. I've already lowered the cycle count. Let's see. So if I see the memory exception, I'm going to continue to lower the cycle count until I at least get through an experiment. And then I will worry about updating my code so that I get the ongoing status updates every second, which obviously I'm not getting currently. Out of memory exception. All right, so let's just stop this. Stop this. And that was 3000. So I will go ahead and lower this to 2000. And it should just do it there in this experiment configuration. But I remember that one of the things that I did added it to this application.yaml, which I don't really think does anything right now. But for the time being, I'll continue to update it. So maybe that's my 4th problem, is figuring out why it added experiment cycle count to application YAML when, or how to tie application YAML so that the experiment configuration uses its own internal default, but will override with this value if it's present. That's really the behavior I'd want. So save this, build this. honestly, I'm surprised 3000 took as long as it did. 1000 iterations was pretty quick. So we'll see what 2000 looks like. Hopefully it gives me about 10 seconds, which should be several status updates. That's there. Build failed. Already in use. But I stopped it. When I do Gradle W boot run, I'm getting this error. How do I find and kill the process that is using port 8080? Damn, I missed that. That caret was supposed to be a question mark. Closed. All right, let's try to use the agent to do this. Let's see here. New session. Stop the process is currently listening to port 8080. So I see this is, as I've been saying, this is about me learning. So this new chat is rereading my agents.md file. And I've watched some YouTube videos, and I know I need to update that agents.md file so that it knows about my various context documents. Okay. Stop the process is currently listening on port 80. Okay. So I could have just done kill -9 because that's all it did. Okay. Boot run. That's running. Restart this. That's going. The cycle count is good. Not getting the status updates. Hopefully it'll finish here in a second. This does not bode well. It's taking longer to finish than I expected it to. All right, first off, we're going to start putting some status out on the console, because I have very little insight. Out of memory exception, really? Polar. Okay, so let's try taking it down to 1,000, which is what I had it at before. I'm wondering if one of my genes has a memory leak. Really? What is doing that? Okay, so I've been doing boot run, and I do Control C to stop the process, but for some reason that's started to not work. So what's going on? So I'm asking the AI, why is Control C not canceling the process? It's running my web server. I'm kind of liking this, adding a alias. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a back end. I'm gonna do a back end server or alias. Alias backend equals W daemon boot run. Okay, source the profile. All right. Then backend. Hope I remember this later. Oh my gosh. Stop the process is listening on port 8080. So this seems to be a good use of agents to just tell it to do something. Okay, so again, it just does the, okay, W dash dash stop. Okay, this is working. Reload this, go to experiment, start experiment, 1000. That should finish. Finished. Okay. But it did run a couple of seconds. Honestly, I'd like it to run a little bit longer, so let's go ahead and see if 1500, how that does. I want it to run long enough to where I have some time to see some updates, but not so long that I hit that memory leak, out of memory error that I've been dealing with. So hopefully this is that. 1500. Started the experiment. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 7008, 1009, 1010, 1000. Okay, that'll work. And no out of memory error. But no status update. Okay. So first thing, now that I've got everything configured to where I have a good context that I can try to attack the problem better, which is always what you want to do when you're debugging. Is the first step is to recreate the problem in a controlled environment. That's always the first step. So I had an experiment service here. Let's see, start experiment. Run experiment async. All right, so it looks like the code is right. So let's see if we were getting anything in the DevTools console. Okay, let's go ahead and restart our server, just because I don't know about that blasted memory leak. Restart the front end. Go to experiment, start experiment. Nothing significant here. Okay, so now I think I need to just start adding system outs. So first let's get status. When the front end queries the back end for status, it should print out to the console pinging status. Let's see what that does. I'll also add logging to the backend controller. Experiment controller. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so now we should see pinging status in both the console and on the back end. Let's see if that works. So one of the earlier steps when you're debugging a problem is to start putting stuff into the log, start logging things. With system outs, if you're doing a 12-factor out app, then the system out just goes to your console and you're just putting status out there. Obviously, you want to be careful about log levels, but right now we're at, it says logger.info and application.yaml has us at where is my log level being set for the backend. Info, okay. Okay. So it's info by default. All right, we're good. Build. Make sure that new system out is in the code. What? I had a test fail. I suspect if I do this again, it's probably going to pass. If it fails a second time, then I'll have to look into it in more detail. Build successful. That means I've got a non-deterministic test in there, which is not good. Not good at all. All right. Reload this. Go to experiment. Start experiment, and I should be seeing, come on, status update, pinging status. Where is that? Okay. I just ran an experiment and I didn't see ping status in the dev console on the browser until the experiment was complete. That implies that the browser, the front end code, is not updating status once every second. What is the problem with the status update? I found the problem, sure. I've been asking you a million times. You finally found the problem. Let's look at, I want to read all of this gobbledygook. Okay, where was my question? Look at the second use effect lines, 49 to 69. In main context.tsx, when you click set is called immediately, but then it waits for the API response only after and there are two separate. First, it depends on experiment ID, runs when the experiment ID changes. The race condition, when you starting is running, becomes true, polling starts, but experiment ID is still null. Fetch status checks if no and returns early. So polling never actually runs until experiment ID is set. The polling interval is created, but it's calling fetch status solution. The polling should stop based on experiment ID being set, not just is running. Experiment service dot run experiment. Okay. Change the polling dependency from is running to is running. This ensures that polling only starts when both is running and experiment ID are truthy. But if it already wasn't running when just one of them wasn't truthy, why is adding another one going to do it? The effect reruns whenever either value changes. Okay. Polling will begin once the experiment ID is received from the backend, not before. Call gets experiment second. Okay, all of that makes sense. And it seems like it was just in the front end. All right, so we should be able to just reload the front end, go to experiment, start experiment ID. Still not seeing it. Still not flipping seeing it. I'm 40 minutes into the video. Oh, wow. And I'm not even seeing the experiment finish. Okay, this is 42 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here. I'm not even going to get up from my seat. And I'm going to get up from my seat. I'm going to stop the video here. Okay. Thank you for your time. Oh, add a memory error, of course. Thank you for your time.